Hey there, how's it going? This is a follow-up to the comprehensive melee and parry guide I made a few days ago. So if you somehow stumbled across this video first, go and watch that one before continuing. Quick thing, thank you all so much for the support on that video. It blew up far beyond my wildest dreams and everyone was very kind and supportive in the comments. Shout out to SJT9113 who commented like 30 times on it in the first couple hours just saying random garbage. I really think you boosted the algorithm to push that video to more people, so thank you so much for that. I have a lot of guides and tutorials planned for beginners and intermediate players, so if that interests you, please consider subscribing. Alright, moving on to the things I missed. If your parry gets baited on Haze, you can use Sleep Dagger to stop the melee. You can use McGinnis wall if your parry gets baited. You might need to use a stamina to back up though. You can use McGinnis wall to bait parries too. Listen for the first one, and then when they queue up the second one, drop the wall and parry. If you let them break the wall, the parry will not work. You can mind control somebody with Apollo 2 by burning your parry and then just riposting the heavy. They took out back-to-back trooper parrying a few patches ago, but you can still do it once to stall the wave and wait for your teammate to get back if they died, so they can still farm the wave. When Yamato grapples onto you, you can usually get away with at least one heavy melee in the match, but eventually she will press space and cancel the ability to parry you. Usually Mo and Krill can't parry out of burrow, but if you input a dash after burrow, you can parry. Billy's melees restore ammo. If Billy's mag is getting low, he will often throw in a light melee to refill his mag, which of course is very predictable. Someone brought up that when back-to-back meleeing after a parry, you should let go of the parry key because holding it down the whole time introduces buffer latency of some kind. For my testing, letting go and repressing the button made zero difference. The reason you sometimes get parried after charging the second heavy melee is because 1, you either didn't queue the first one up in time, or 2, you held S on your keyboard to take a step back, which introduces travel time, thus delaying your second heavy melee. Counterspelling is very effective against Apollo's ult because not only can you counterspell the first hit, but the second hit, so you kind of get 2 chances. Mentioned in the first video that you can use a few other spells to run away if your parry gets baited. Those spells include Shoulder Charge, Apollo 1,
I believe my assistance is needed.
Flame Dash,
I'll leave nothing but ash.
Pocket Cloak, especially with the aid of Case, Shiv ult, Boot Kick as a means to push them back or just to escape. Technically Mauling Leap, but I feel like in most scenarios it would just be better to fight them. Gut Shot, both as a way to make space, but also just to run. I guess in the same vein, Shiv into movement works too. Mina ult and 7 ult can also be used. And the Universal Warp Stone. You could technically use Ice Path, Flying Slash tier 3 to grapple the teammates, and Viscous Puddle Punch movement, but they're pretty slow and I doubt they would be very effective. You could use Stake, although you really want to have a stamina bar. Same with Dynamo Stomp, Rim Pillow, and any other knockup to push them back. But be aware the effective timing can be pretty tight because if they're already charging a heavy melee, it'll stop their momentum. Try to use these abilities with at least 1 stamina. You can use 7 stun to heavy melee. Although similar to Rabbit Hex or Gut Shot, you can just parry before the stun to protect against the heavy. So maybe try and light melee instead. Sometimes you're charging a heavy melee for whatever reason, take your pick, and someone burns their parry, expecting a light or something. Instead of just turning and wasting the heavy, you can extend the lifetime of the heavy by turning out and back in to hit them. It's obviously more effective with melee charge and crushing fists. You can parry for center sacrifices and bridge buffs. If a character's color palette matches the bridge buff, it's very hard to see if you're not paying attention. It's very good on Haze because of her invisibility. And Calico with Ava. Casting bridge buff is nearly invisible, although it's hard to see her on all the bridge buffs. Ava also doesn't reveal you on the minimap, unlike just standing there, as Bebop for example. This might be outside the scope of parries and melees, but when fighting over bridge buffs, never make the first move. If you melee first, you usually get parried. If you bait their parry with a turn punch, they have enough time to melee the crystal. Even if you buffer the second heavy melee, you have to wait for them to burn their parry, and then parry their attempt to grab the buff before you. I really thought this bug would have been patched by now, but you can parry in the middle of Slice and Dice.
Strike swiftly.
I learned about this from this short by, I believe the fellow's name is Mihan. I'll leave a link to his short in the description. No flame to him of course, but he did a really bad job of explaining it. You dash, then use the ability, then parry in that order, and it looks like that. This works for Slice and Dice, Sleeping Slash, Rising Ram, Mirage Tornado, Ivy Stone Form, and Boot Kick.
Leave me alone.
But not Mauling Leap, interestingly enough. You can do it on Flame Dash and Shoulder Charge, but they're not very good. As well as Wraith TP, but there's no reason to do it with Wraith TP because you'll be teleporting away. But I mean, this could save you because normally you can't parry during the channel, and Wraith TP doesn't have iframes.
Your time to shine, boys.
You might think there's no reason to do it at all, especially with something like Ivy Stone Form, when there's already a stun included in the ability. Getting parried actually increases damage taken from all sources by 25%. Be careful when using it with Rising Ram, it'll camera lock you, but only with that ability. This deck is most important on Shiv, I would say, because of the ever-present Abrams-Shiv matchup. Shiv bends Abrams over in the matchup most of the time, but in one regard, Abrams comes out on top, and it's when both characters use their 2. Shoulder Charge beats Slice and Dice, but because this tech is tied to parrying, that means you can counterspell the Shoulder Charge. I was going to say this tech is best on Shiv just in general, because you can use it with ult, but the patch on, I believe, August 2nd made it so you can't do it anymore, which really sucks. I was going to have this whole bit about how, you know, when Redruth's dropping and your team of 5 Sinclair players gets black holed. I mean, we've all been there, guys, don't lie. You can counterspell Killing Blow the Dynamo if he's low enough, but Gabe or Ice Frog or whoever just had to ruin my day. He'll have to find some other way of casting Killing Blow on a low HP Dynamo casting Black Hole. If getting parried would leave your opponent in a worse position if they just stay and fight you, you can just run at them in light or heavy melee like a madman. Think of things like Infernus ult, Flame Dash, Victor ult, Paradox Bomb, Kudzu, Celeste ult, or even Graves ult if you have a lot of zombies down. Also, there's that list of things you can sneak a light melee into in the original video. In the description, Shiv ult is written down as being one of the abilities you're able to light melee with after casting. I thought that was useless because you always want to be executing with Shiv ult, but then I realized after you execute somebody, you have that timer ticking down. You can recast Killing Blow if it's going to run out and they're not low enough for the execute regardless, because 1, it does spirit damage, and 2, you'll get to sneak in a light melee. Spirit Snatch might actually be solid on Shiv. Also, I only include this because half my audience are Shiv players. Last thing is just the general PSA. E-Shift is just a better counterspell and debuff remover a lot of the time. Someone made a comment about holding Lash ult to bait things like Counterspell, Dynamo 2, Pocket Case, etc. Even with all the duration items in the game, E-Shift lasts longer than Lash ult. You can also use it to counterspell things you wouldn't expect to be able to E-Shift through, like Geist ult, although you can't do this with Doorman ult or Mo and Krill ult. It works wonders for Wraith ult and Celeste ult, which for some reason can't be counterspelled. Even if Doorman has superior duration, it almost outlasts Black Hole. E-Shift is actually broken. Anyways, that's it for me with melees until some new characters come out, I think. Like, sub, join the Discord for free coaching, or just hang out with some really cool goobers. Bye!